Okay, I'd like to start the audit committee meeting, though a little late. Got a little bit to cover here, so we'll start it right off. I need a motion to accept the minutes as submitted, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, our work plan. Mike, any changes to our work plan?
No, we're good. We're on target and it's proceeding as planned.
Okay. Lamond, briefing committee on compliance with the state law. Where is he? Here he comes.
Good afternoon. I am here to give you a report on the financial disclosure statement filing for 2009. In the materials, you will see a memo from me which summarizes what occurred as of last year. As you can see, last year we had 6,057 employees who had to file the financial disclosure statement. Of that number, 47 filers were delinquent last year. At this point, all of those filers who were delinquent in 2009 have in fact filed. Again, this represents less than 1% of the filers, and the MTA still is pretty much at the very forefront in terms of compliance with this provision.
It doesn't seem like a large number, but it
Well,
bothers me because there's a responsibility here.
Right. And again, whenever we've talked to the Commission on Public Integrity, they've always reiterated the fact that we have one of the highest filing rates of any state agency or public authority.
Okay. Ethics. You're on.
Okay, I have a presentation if you'll bear with me, I need to go back and just start it. I apologize for that. Okay, this is a presentation on the status of the MTA's Ethics and Compliance Program for 2009. In 2009, we received over 204 inquiries. That number represents the inquiries that we actually documented. We received much more inquiries than those, but these are the ones that actually required us to do some work, or there were other reasons why we had to create a file for. As you can see, they came in various forms, emails, telephone, helpline, in person. The vast majority are now coming in via email, which has been a change for us over the last several years. We used to get a lot of telephone calls, but lately we've been getting quite a few emails, usually directed directly to me, which has caused them to have to increase my email size quite substantially. We've also been getting a lot of things in by fax, too, which I thought was kind of interesting in this day and age. The helpline, still, we receive about 1% on the helpline. It is being utilized. One thing I would mention about the ethics helpline, We do get calls in that are, for example, HR in nature, so those wouldn't show up in here. People trying to figure out where the right place to go is for an answer to a question that's not really ethics related. So that wouldn't show up here, but the helpline gets those type of calls as well. Okay. Now, the type of inquiries we get, varies. Obviously, attendance at prohibited source events, gifts, financial disclosure. We'll be getting questions about post-employment restrictions and outside activity requests. And as you can see from this chart, the vast majority of the questions that we are receiving, and this has been historically the case regarding gifts in different forms. We also have had quite a few what we call compliance reviews. Those are members of the staff requesting guidance regarding whether or not an activity they're planning on engaging in or something they're thinking about doing is compliant with MTA's policies and procedures and truly in the best interest of the MTA. And we provide guidance on that as well. During 2009, we provided ethics training, and as you can see from this slide, we do cover the areas that come up through the helpline, through the emails, to make sure that the training is geared towards the inquiries that we receive. Last year, we provided training to 1,271 MTA employees, most of whom were at transit, 43%. We also provided CLE courses for the attorneys, not saying that attorneys need any additional ethics training more than anyone else. We also provided the senior executive staff with training as well. As you know, every year, agency presidents and their direct reports, as well as the our CEO, chairman, are required to come in for annual ethics training. So we continue to do that as well. For 2010, we have scheduled 29 sessions, beginning on March 8th and running through October 25th. Now, MTA Code of Ethics, again, is still available. As you know, this board approved a revised code in December of 2009. That has been placed on our internet and our intranet, and we are in the process of distributing that to our employees as well. Last year, as we have done in previous years, we provide numerous memos to employees on such issues as holidays, honoraria, special events. We will be sending out a memo later in the year regarding restrictions on political activities on MTA property. So we'll be doing that as the year progresses as well. We continue to promote the use of the ethics helpline through different forms, including the signage, which has been placed throughout the MTA. And we continue to coordinate our activities with the Commission on Public Integrity, the MTA Inspector General, Audit Services, and the agency ethics officers. Thank you. If any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Any questions? Okay. Now you're next on the agenda. Agency reports and open audit recommendations.
Okay.
Turn the light back on. Okay. Okay. Open audit recommendations. What this report consists of are those audit recommendations which have exceeded the implementation date by more than 6 months. At this point, I'd start off with audit recommendations for the New York State Comptroller. There are no recommendations which have exceeded 6 months as it relates to the New York State Comptroller. New York City Comptroller. At this point, there are no recommendations that have exceeded 6 months for the New York City Comptroller. The MTA Inspector General, we have 5 recommendations at this point which have exceeded that 6-month window. First, we have a recommendation entitled MTA Staff Summaries for Procurement Approvals. That at this point is with Audit Services as part of a project that they're working on, so it is actively being worked on with Audit Services. We also have a recommendation for New York City Transit. I'm asking this committee's indulgence that we table the recommendations for New York City Transit. I'm still awaiting an update for them on the status of the recommendations. As part of the process, we send out a request that they update the status to make sure that what we're reporting to you is current. And at this point, I have not gotten a recommendation for them, update on their recommendations at this point.
How old are they since the original recommendation?
This one, in terms of the IG, because I have some others as well, but the IG is 3/31/2009.
So we're within
We're
reasonable.
reasonable amount of time, yes. Just enough time for us to be able to get an update so that make sure that we are, in fact, reporting accurate information to you.
Okay. Do we have any that are exceedingly overdue?
Multi-years, you mean?
Multi-years?
Most of the recommendations are from 2009.
Okay.
There's nothing in here that would, raise my concern that it was extremely old in terms of the recommendations.
One thing I talked to Lamond about is to provide the committee a list of those recommendations so you can see them in the next package, so either April or May.
Yes,
And when he
okay.
does New York City Transit update, I want him to come back in May to give you an update
Yeah.
on New YorkIty Transit. So they have the lion's share of the recommendations, being the biggest
Yes,
agency.
I can do that.
But what
That's
we're
no
going to do
problem.
is include the list of recommendations for you so you can see the nature of them and
Yeah,
how old they are.
Maybe you can get them to us before the
Yeah.
meeting.
Oh,
Include it in the
absolutely.
book,
We
yeah.
get a chance to.
Oh, I'm sorry, April then.
I will absolutely do that, yes. Okay. We have one IG for report Long Island Railroad's lost property process. We have a representative from Long Island Railroad here in case you would like to get a status on that recommendation.
Okay, and what's the original?
6/30/2009 is the implementation date.
Sure.
Long Island Railroad, would you like to come up?
Hi, my name is Joanna Rosato. I'm with the Reengineering and Internal Controls Department from Long Island Railroad, and I'm here with Casey Arasa, Terminal Manager, Transportation Services. And the recommendation that's outstanding is MTA IG 0722. It has to do with Long Island Railroad's lost property process. The specific recommendation was to have key aspects of the lost property process tested periodically. I just wanted to let you know that as of 12/31, the original report had 11 recommendations, of which we have implemented 10 to date. We've also implemented 17 lost and found boxes at various terminals and yards. The audit testing was deferred. We were trying to put in place all of our boxes, but at this point what we're going to end up doing is start doing our testing in March or April. We've also updated our vulnerability assessment to include the testing of various aspects of the corporate policy and procedure that was developed as a result of this audit.
Okay, I guess the question is when can we look for a completion to this recommendation? What's the time frame?
March?
Yeah,
March of this year.
Okay, good. Any questions? If not,
Yes, think so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We have two recommendations that were issued by MTA Audit Services that have exceeded the 6-month period, both of which are in the pension area. One regarding MTA PeopleSoft pension user acceptance testing, and the other is testing and data conversion. And I believe Barbara Roach is here to discuss the status of those recommendations. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Well, then say that.
Hello, everyone. My name is
Push the
Barbara
button.
Roach.
Push the button.
My name is Barbara Roach. I'm the Director of the Consolidated MTA Pensions at the BSC. We had 2 recommendations. One recommendation is completed. The second recommendation is involving PeopleSoft, where we have members that had service in multiple agencies. And our PeopleSoft system, when it was originally designed, didn't link the service from both of those areas. The upgrades that we've done have been for very specific areas, and they also didn't address that issue. But it is our intention to address it in the next upgrade that we do of the system, so that your service in every agency will carry with you when we calculate your pension.
And when is that next upgrade?
We have an RFP presently out for bid to do an upgrade and re-implementation of the system. And again, the bids aren't back yet, but we do see that going somewhere later this spring, maybe at the beginning of the summer, as far as starting. It's scheduled to take minimally a year, I would say, to go live again with this upgrade. And at that point, we are hoping that the fit gap will bring this into light, where we will have one consolidated record for every member in the pension system.
Very important.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Agencies, are you talking about agencies within our control or other government agencies as well?
MTA affiliated agencies.
So if somebody has city service, you're not able to consolidate that?
We can recognize that because it would go in as prior service. It's the service when you had, for instance, if you were an employee at Long Island Railroad, then became an employee at Metro North and moved to Long Island Bus. You have employee IDs that are unique and they're agency driven, and it doesn't pick it up as the prior service. We have 11 members. We keep actually a spreadsheet on them, and when their pension calculations come up for an estimate, or if they actually do retire, we use the spreadsheet to make sure we recognize all the service and salary.
So you have 11 people?
It's 11. It's 11 people that are in that system. Well, that I actually don't know, but it's not totally for that. It's a much broader scope.
Any other questions? I got to look here. I'm waiting to.
I guess one can point this out as a flaw in the system. On the other hand, if it means keeping an offline sheet for 11 people, it doesn't strike me as a terribly significant flaw. And programming, sort of adjusting PeopleSoft for one's own peculiar circumstances, can be extraordinarily expensive. I just raised the question.
Now, the 11 people that he's talking about are the 11 people that are affected by the multi.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that could grow. I agree with you. It seems like a lot of money to spend to accommodate 11 people, but we don't know what that's going to be in the future. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And that's all the recommendations that I have at this point to bring to your attention.
Okay, that's great. Any questions for Lamont? Okay. Okay, Glenn, you're up.
Good afternoon. What I'm going to do is walk you through the 2 required communications to the Audit Committee members for both the MTA Defined Benefit Plan and the Long Island Railroad Additional Pension Benefit Plan. You've received previously the financial statements. We have performed an audit of the financial statements of the Metropolitan Transportation Authority Defined Benefit Plan and the Long Island Railroad Company Plan for additional pensions as of and for the year ended December 31st, 2008, in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America. Those standards have been previously conveyed to you, the Audit Committee members, in our engagement letter. As part of our audit, we do consider the plan's internal controls over financial reporting as a basis for designing our audit procedures, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on those procedures. And accordingly, we do not express an opinion on those internal controls. Accounting estimates are an integral part of the financial statements prepared by management and are based upon management's current judgments. During the year ended October 30 or December 31st, 2008, we are not aware of any significant changes in those estimates. There were no uncorrected misstatements or disclosure items passed during our audits. We had no disagreements with management related to matters that are material to the plan's 2008 financial statements. And we're not aware of any consultation that management may have had with other accountants concerning the financial statements for the years that ended. Throughout the year, we do have routine discussions with management, and in our judgment, such discussions were not held as in connection with our retention as your independent external auditors. In our judgment, we received the full cooperation of the plan's management and staff and had unrestricted access to the plan's financial statements and financial records during our audits. In addition, we've attached to the letters the management representation letters that management will sign prior to the issuance of the financial statements, as we deem this to be a significant communication between us and management, and that we share it with you, the audit committee members, because they previously have not been shared with you. At this point, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding the audits on the MTA or the Long Island Railroad plan.
Any questions from any of the committee members? I perused them over the weekend. It didn't seem like there was anything overly exciting. But,
Barring the decrease in the...
right, barring
which
the
we-
decrease in value.
which we all knew was going to happen.
Of course.
Exactly.
Sure.
Otherwise, year over year, they're, as far as disclosure goes, they're consistent. There was one new GASB number 50, that we incorporated, where it took the schedule of funding progress and employer contribution and moved the one-year piece of information out of what was previously called the required supplementary information and put it into the footnote disclosure, so now it falls under our audit opinion. But barring that change, there was no other changes that impacted the plan's financial statements.
Any questions? Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session. This is the fourth executive session today.
The PeopleSoft, they're revising the PeopleSoft